And where is Hurricane Katrina right now? Chief Meteorologist Bruce Katz here now with the very latest on that powerful storm. Bruce.
Well, right now the storm continues to move west-southwest in the southern Gulf of Mexico, coming off of Florida just to the west of the Keys, and it's got a lot of warm water to work with. As a result, we're expecting this thing to become a Category 3, if not even a 4, as it makes its way inland. So the latest coordinates coming in as of just about 45 minutes to an hour ago at 24.8 north, 82.9 west, the wind's at 100. There's that west to southwest movement, just slightly west, south of due west, and as you can see, it's 570 to the southeast of New Orleans. Now, we're going to take the track, put it into motion, coming off of Florida in the Gulf, and you can see basically a west, then northwest, then northerly turn. But the big question is going to be, when this system does turn north, is it going to be a little bit farther off to the west or even a little bit farther to the east? What has me a little bit concerned right now is that the storm is moving a little south of west, which is a little bit of a change of what the forecast was calling for just about 12 hours ago. So the farther south and west the storm gets, the longer it's going to take for that turn to the north. So that's why all indications are, and the model consensus has certainly pushed to the west, right around Pascagoula, Mississippi, which would put us on the better side of the storm, but still a little too close to home. If the storm were to move in as a Category 4 around that area, still eastern St. Bernard to Plaquemine and also areas of St. Bernard and St. Tammany would get some heavy winds and rain. So, of course, we'll be back to track the storm. I'll let you know my scenarios and what I'm thinking. All that and more coming up in a very important weekend forecast. So Liz and Michael will be on top of it in just about 9 to 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce.
Okay.
Well, right now there are no calls for evacuations, but you'll want to stay tuned to ABC 26 News for the very latest on Katrina and what, if any, plans local parishes and cities are working on.
Other news, a witch hunt. That's what one attorney called the government's investigation of possible wrongdoing at the Jefferson Parish Courthouse. Some may have thought Operation Wrinkled Robe ended with the conviction of former Judge Alan Green. But as Glenn Boyd shows us, at least 2 more Jefferson Parish judges answered subpoenas today.
Attorney Mike Ellis just dropped off District Judge Skip Hand's campaign records dating back 10 years. The records will show that former Bail Bonds Unlimited owner Louis Marcotte contributed $4,500 to Hand's campaign, a $2,000 contribution in 1995 and a $2,500 contribution in 2002. That contribution was soon returned following the government's raid on Marcotte's business back in June of '02.
Judge Hand's position is he has done absolutely nothing wrong. He doesn't understand what this is all about, to be perfectly honest, and where it's heading.
Mark Ellis admits Marcotte paid for a number of golf trips for Judge Hand. During Judge Alan Green's trial, testimony revealed Marcotte paid more than $500 for a deep-sea fishing tournament for Hand as well.
I've taken judges to dinner on many occasions, but I don't expect them to give me any return in the courtroom.
Ellis says never was there any quid pro quo, not on Hand's part or former district judge Susan Chihardi, who has also been subpoenaed.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they can show any quid pro quo on behalf of Susan Chihardi, who hasn't written a bond since 1998. She can't write bonds in the Fifth Circuit. So, Skip Hand, I don't think they'll ever be able to show a quid pro quo.
Green was convicted on mail fraud for mailing what he calls campaign contributions back to Marcotte. The jury was deadlocked on the conspiracy and racketeering charges. Ellis says his clients did not use the federal mail to return Marcotte's contribution. Glenn Boyd, ABC 26 News.
District Judge Steve Windhorse and Justice of the Peace Steve Madalero got grand jury subpoenas as well. Madalero's attorney Vinny Mosca says he's been given 2 to 3 more weeks to hand over those campaign records.
Well, a life sentence today for a man convicted in a school shooting. Stephen Williams was convicted in April in the shooting death of Jonathan Caveman Williams. He was shot 9 times in April of 2003 in the McDonough High School gym. In addition to the life sentence, Williams also got 40 years on a conspiracy charge and another 10 for aggravated battery.
This surveillance tape helped prosecutors get a guilty verdict in a murder case. Carla Fry and 2 friends dressed in golf clothing entered the Marriott Hotel in the Warehouse District with hotel guest Sean Johnson. Then hours later, left the hotel without Johnson. Johnson had been killed in his hot tub. One of the 3, Benjamin Anthony, testified against the other 2. Anthony says Carla Fry cheered at Chris Lane beat Sean Johnson with a champagne bottle, then drowned him. A jury took just 3 hours to convict Fry of negligent homicide. Benjamin Anthony got a 4-year sentence in exchange for his testimony. Chris Lane goes to trial later and could get the death penalty if convicted of first-degree murder.
The retired Marine general credited with helping save the New Orleans Navy base is now trying to save 900 local Navy jobs.
Tonight, General David Mize is making his first public statement since the Bragg Commission took the Naval Support Activity Center off the Pentagon's closure list. Paul Murphy here now with details of this. Paul?
Michael, General Mize is getting the credit for planning and executing the battle strategy to keep the New Orleans Navy base open. Today, he was quick to spread around the credit while working to keep the Navy jobs in New Orleans. Retired Marine Major General David Mize staked his 38-year military career on the plan to turn the New Orleans Navy base into a new federal city.
I didn't believe that what we present to you today is a better solution for the DOD, the military, and the community. I would not be standing before you.
The general's 45-minute presentation to Bragg commissioners in July worked. Wednesday, the commission voted to keep the base open as a new office park for local military and homeland security agencies. Mize ranks that announcement with some of his major military accomplishments, including being the commanding general of the Marines' premier training base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
I would definitely say this was a general officer-sized challenge or project. And so it was similar to some of the things that I had a chance to take on in the Marine Corps.
Mize took on the challenge shortly after moving to New Orleans earlier this year.
My wife and I have never really had a home before. It was my 32nd move when I came here to New Orleans. And so we wanted to, feel a real sense of community. And so this certainly helps us jumpstart that feeling.
Louisiana's 2 U.S. senators say Mize saved the Navy base.
He basically took this on as a personal mission. He was tasked to do that, and he did it magnificently.
I was there for the presentation, and no one could have done a better job, and he couldn't have done a better job. It was perfect.
Mize isn't basking in the glow. Today he worked the phones trying to convince Bragg commissioners not to move 900 Navy jobs from New Orleans to Tennessee and Virginia.
We're working the issue right down to the last second to keep making our case to the commissioners, and we're hopeful.
The Bragg Commission is expected to vote on those Navy jobs before wrapping up sometime tomorrow. Michael?
All right, thank you, Paul. With or without the Navy jobs, the federal city is still a go. In the coming months, the city will try to secure a Homeland Security regional headquarters and other military jobs for Algiers.
Well, right now, fans are starting to file into the Superdome for tonight's Saints preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens. Tonight will be the last Saints game at the Dome without extra tight security. Don Ostrom is live outside the Dome to tell us what new security measures fans can expect for future games. Don.
Well, Liz, don't expect anything but the norm tonight. Fans will have their bags searched just like they've had their bags searched at every game since September 11th. The NFL says there is no specific threat against the NFL, but there will be a new policy across the league starting here with the regular season opener on September 18th. All fans will be subject to pat-down searches. The last time fans were pat down outside the Dome was back in 2002 as they walked into the first Super Bowl after September 11th. Some fans waited an hour to get through that security, and the Superdome says when the pat-downs are added to the current bag searches here, expect it to take a while.
It'll be more than the delays from the bag checks and the electronic devices that we've been using in the past. So it is going to take a while to get people through these gates. And if you think you're going to get here at 10 minutes to 12 and make it for kickoff, you're probably not going to see the kickoff. You'll be lucky to see much of the first quarter. You better get here early.
The Saints and the Superdome are still working out the exact details of how these pat-down searches will go. They will be making announcements during the game tonight to make sure fans have early warning that they better get here early for the rest of the season. Liz?
Okay, thanks a lot, Dawn. That policy goes into effect September 18th when the Saints take on the New York Giants.
The Donald targets New Orleans. Find out how he's bringing a piece of his real estate empire to the Crescent City.
Don't head to the office. The office will come to you. A local politician takes her office on the road. Next on ABC 26 News.
Nice ride.
Thank you, Mocha Coca.
Downtown parking lot. Well, not that one. It's home, reaching up to 70 stories. The building, there it is. The building will include a hotel, condominiums, a 5-star restaurant, and retail space. The tower is expected to cost, get this, $200 million. But Mayor Nagin is excited about what the project could do to the city's real estate market.
He has such a brand name that high-end international investors follow him pretty much en masse. So it should bring a whole lot more people into the marketplace that not only will buy a condominium, but will look around New Orleans and decide whether they want to invest some of their dollars.
Well, that project is supposed to create between 500 to 700 new jobs. No word tonight on a groundbreaking date. Well, it's being called the Morel Mobile.
And it's beginning to bring City Hall and citizens to District D. City Council member Cynthia Morel held her grand opening today for her new mobile office. The Morel Mobile is a converted recreational vehicle measuring 38 feet long and 10 feet high, and it includes an office and meeting space. Morel says she's taking the vehicle to different neighborhoods in District D so folks can have easy access to their council member.
A fresh start with a new direction. Another school gains a charter status. It's coming up.
And a 1-2 punch from Hurricane Katrina. Are we next to feel her destruction? Get the latest on the storm. That's next on ABC 26 News at 6.
SLE for just $28,687 with the employee discount for everyone. See your professional grade GMC dealers.
Well, we're under a heat advisory until Sunday, but the big news, of course, is Katrina tonight.
That's right. Some of the model guidance is actually pushing the storm a little bit more westward. The storm's moving west-southwest now, and what we needed to do is by noon tomorrow to start that northward turn. If it doesn't, gets a little bit farther west, then we need to be even more concerned. But as of right now, the models have indicated that it looks like it may be coming in right along the Alabama-Mississippi border, which, if you remember yesterday, we were looking all the way to Apalachicola, and if you notice, the margin of error all the way west, heading over toward Lafayette, Louisiana. So we're going to show you all the scenarios in just a moment, but here are the lake coordinates now coming in as of the 4 o'clock hour. These are the latest ones we have. 24.8 north, 82.9 west. The winds 100 miles per hour, moving west-southwest at about 8 to 10 miles per hour, 570 southeast of the New Orleans area. So here's Katrina's future. What we'll do is we'll do a little three-dimensional flight, and the storm itself will continue to move basically west, then northwest, and then north, coming in by the time frame late afternoon on Monday. So you'll see the storm system coming in, Pascagoula just about right here. Here's New Orleans, of course. Here is Lower Plaquemines Parish. That's a little close for comfort right now. And again, what we have to hope is that a main system begins to pull westbound to get this thing farther northeast of us even further. But as of right now, we're going to watch it closely. If the storm comes a little bit farther west, then we could be looking at a track more so in this direction here. So it's too early to call. We're not going to call for a direct hit on New Orleans whatsoever. But again, we're not out of the woods as of yet. So we're going to watch it very closely and take a look at some of the model runs coming in as of the 5 o'clock hour. And here is the thing that has me a little bit concerned. We've got many models coming in now, basically from Pascagoula, a couple just to the west of the New Orleans area. And of course, we would never want a storm coming in just west of the city. As a result, we would be on the worst side of the storm. Storm tidal surge, a lot of flooding. But again, this is the time to plan. This is not the time to get too excited. Get all the plans in order. Even in the beginning of the season, we've been talking about get the plans in order. Get familiar with the contraflow, because with this shift to the west of us, we are looking at, again, the potential of some hurricane force winds coming in on Monday on the extreme eastern section of southeast Louisiana. We're going to watch it very closely, but as of now, it looks like it's going to be east of us, and we would be on the better side, but certainly that could change. And of course, I'm going to be here watching this system till the last blow. Here's the storm itself working into the Gulf of Mexico. Notice here too, getting a lot of outflow, indicating we're not getting a lot of shear to rip this thing apart. And remember, in the Gulf Stream, we're looking at water temps in the upper 80s to lower 90s. We've had nothing in the Gulf to stir things up. As a result, we're looking at a sea surface temperature, probably the warmest it could ever get, in the lower 90s. So we've got a lot of fuel for the fire working in. Here's the storm, and you'll notice here earlier, and you can see that southwestward turn, which again we don't like, because the farther south and west it gets, it's going to take a lot longer for this thing to turn to the north. And if that does happen late in the period, we could be looking at a landfall even a bit closer toward New Orleans. Now, what I'm going to do is here, stop it. Here's the big Bermuda high. Here's what's steering basically the system to the west. This is the ridge over us now, and this is the ridge that we hope is going to continue to work westward quicker, with a trough developing to the north. Now on Saturday by midday, this trough begins to come a little bit farther south, eventually picking the storm up and moving it a bit farther north. This is going to be the critical time period, I think, from 1 o'clock tomorrow through 1 o'clock on Sunday. Just how far west the system gets all depends on the system moving out. And, of course, this trough hopefully is going to be our saving grace to eventually pull it north. But if the storm goes too far south, it could actually be a little far removed from the system, and that could be a whole other scenario too. But here's that flow coming in. Notice on the backside of the ridge that eventually is going to push in. Here's why the storm is moving south and west. Notice the clouds on the back end of the ridge. When this system begins to pull farther east, the trough begins to pull in. That's when we expect the storm to move north. So, of course, we're going to watch it closely. The National Water Vapor Loop showing the system. And, again, the temps around the area, definitely on the hot side. We're talking in the 90s. So this weekend, although we have a heat advisory in effect, all eyes will be on Katrina. As of right now, again, no need to panic. This is the time to get all the plans in order. And, of course, if you need the hurricane tracking guide, stop by any Domino's Pizza and pick it up. They have a lot of good information, as well as contraflow. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have to see if contraflow does kick in, because if the storm does deviate farther west, this is going to be the true test. And, again, it's new to everybody, so get yourself familiar with it now.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
Well, UNO is hoping for sweeping success at its new charter school in New Orleans.
Nelson UNO Charter School opened Monday as the second school the university has taken over. Meredith Mendez has details.
Students here at Nelson UNO Charter School are full of American pride and a promise of a brighter future. This school was failing under the Orleans Parish school system, but now has the chance for a big turnaround.
To make the difference, you need a passion. You need a desire to believe that children are not the problem, that children are not at risk. It's only the situation they come to on a day-to-day basis that create at-risk
Education leaders say they've seen what a difference they can make through CAPTO, the university's first charter takeover.
We are proud of our success at CAPTO, where within the first 100 days of instruction, we were able to improve LEAP scores by an average of 14% among 8th graders.
One big difference in this charter school is how children are taught, and more specifically, how long they're taught. Every day, kids get 390 minutes of instruction.
Class is taken as early as 8 o'clock, and we don't dismiss until 4 o'clock. And built into that are those double blocks also in science and social studies.
And today, charter school supporters got some support of their own, $350,000 for their fund set up to help current and future charter schools.
We're asking the business community to step up and provide the additional money for a total of $10 million venture capital fund that says we believe in education entrepreneurship.
Meredith Mendez, ABC 26 News.
So far, the Education Venture Fund has about $3 million set aside for charter schools. Great seeing those kids in those uniforms.
Isn't it? They look adorable. And we'll be right back right after this.
Bioner gave me a complete how-to package on selling my home. I didn't need an attorney. Why give my money to a real estate?
WGNO is an equal opportunity employer.
Well, you've heard if you can find a better car, buy it. All you have to do is exit I-10 at Bullard and come to Advantage Ford. And you'll buy better cars and trucks with the low price too.
A better truck, just $14,962. A better car, just $18,997. A better truck and a low price, just $18,393.
Shucks! Come get better cars and trucks.
At Advantage Ford.
Take this exit and get the advantage.
Bioner rep explained our options completely.
We got a call from the eventual buyer the next day.
People actually offered more than our asking price.
We signed the contract within a week.
And saved over $20,000.
Thanks, Bioner.
Thanks, Bioner.
It's amazing what people can do when they're confident in their equipment. You think about that. Then you build a range of turbocharged performance sedans with legendary Volvo safety. The 2005 Volvo S60s.
Lease a Volvo S60 Turbo, only $399 per month at Bergeron Volvo.
ABC 26 Sports with Sports Director Ed Daniels.
The first NFL cutdown looms, meaning a few Saints have their job security and Hurricane Katrina to worry them. Saints host the Ravens tonight. Adam Norris is live at the Superdome. Adam?
Ed, as you mentioned, the Saints have to trim their roster to 65 players by Tuesday. Right now, the team has 86 players under contract. So for about 24 guys, their jobs are in jeopardy. And for a few others, they're trying to get promoted before the regular season kicks off. Most of the Saints starters played about 3 quarters in last week's victory against the New England Patriots. That represented the most action they'll see during the exhibition schedule. Tonight, the starters will likely only play a quarter or 2 at the most, though there's plenty of jockeying for position on the depth chart.
I think the next couple games will determine a few things. 3 spot at quarterback, 3 spot at wide receiver. I think there's going to be a few backups, the tackle spot, and I mean, I can go on and on, but I think this game's going to be big for a bunch of guys.
The most watched race among backups may be at third-string quarterback. Neither rookie Adrian McPherson nor Cliff Kingsbury has done much to pull ahead of the other. They'll get ample opportunity tonight and in the preseason finale against Oakland. If Devery Henderson can't hang on to the third wide receiver job, it's because he didn't earn it. Injuries to Oz Hakeem and Talman Gardner have given Henderson access to the position. Now he has to prove he deserves it.
Yeah, Devery has a shot. He's got to catch the ball better than he did today, but he's got a shot. He's been doing pretty well.
Jonathan Sullivan's much scrutinized audition continues tonight in the Dome. The former 6th overall pick in the draft has been elevated to starting status within the past week, and Sullivan will see extended time against the Ravens, so the coaches can see if the defensive tackle can stay focused and motivated. Another note, former Saints cornerback Dale Carter will likely start tonight for the Ravens in place of Deion Sanders. And tonight's game has been blacked out. It's not a sellout, so you won't be able to watch it on television. Be sure to check out ABC 26 News at 10, where you can see all the fun stuff. And Ed, one other note, I ran into Ed Reed. He said he thinks that you took his jersey after yesterday's jersey induction ceremony at Destrehan, and he didn't look happy. Any truth to that?
No truth at all. He loves me, at least for right now. Thanks, Adam. Former Tulane kicker Seth Marler has a new NFL address, Dallas. Marler was traded by the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Cowboys for an undisclosed 2006 draft choice. The Cowboys recently cut kicker Billy Cundiff. Marler made 20 of 33 field goal attempts in 2003, his rookie season. Marler spent last season on injured reserve.
So he's going to America's team.
America's, well, they used to call it something else a while back, but we won't get into that right now.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, thanks.
Well, we're
Ed.
keeping close watch on Katrina in the next couple of hours.
And certainly we are, and we want to give you some programming notes now. From 7 until 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll have a newscast. Also, live weather updates at the top and bottom of the hours tomorrow, and also expanded newscast in the evening here on ABC 26 News.
Also, the weather bug on the screen, too.
That's
we
right,
have the coordinates on the weather bug.
Keep folks informed. Thanks for watching ABC 26 News at 6.
More news tonight at 10.
Oh, God, I'm exhausted.